My boyfriend believes that we shouldn't be together because his female friend told him that our zodiac signs are not compatible. This is slowly getting ridiculous. My boyfriend of 2 years has a female friend. They were close since middle school, so she's been in his life more than most of his other friends. I guess this is why he listens to her and her opinions on a lot of matters, including our own relationship, which I found out recently. What is happening is that every time we've had a fight, he was going to her to vent about our problems. I was okay with this for a long time. I never really thought that something would be wrong. They were friends for a long time. I trusted him, and I wasn't jealous of their friendship, but for a few months, I've noticed a sudden change in my boyfriend's behavior after our fights. Instead of trying to resolve things like we always do, he would get passive-aggressive, ignore me for days, and throw around, "Maybe we should break up," quite often. I was really surprised because our fights aren't that serious. For example, ever since we moved in together, we have this agreement that I'm cooking our meals and he cleans everything after. For a week or so, he wouldn't, no matter how many times I've asked, because as he said, Leos don't like to be pushed around. Yeah, every time we fight, he would just say some stupid shit like this. So I confronted him yesterday and asked him what has gotten into him. Apparently, his female friend has gotten into astrology and decided that we are not compatible because I'm a Cancer and he's a Leo. He then blamed our little fight on our signs' incompatibility and told me that she's pretty spot on with her descriptions of our relationship, and he started to believe that we are not a good match. This is so stupid, I thought he was joking, but nope. Now I'm thinking if this is even something worth fighting for. I don't believe astrology. I don't think it's an answer to all of the problems that we face, but he's certain that it's because his female friend told him so. I was thinking about meeting up with her, but I don't know if I should, or maybe with both of them to see what the problem really is. Part of me doesn't want to throw away this relationship. Those were a good 2 years before he started acting like an idiot, but another part of me is bewildered by the amount of stupidity of my boyfriend and his friend. Eat Shiitake says, "Do you really want to be with someone so gullible and weak-minded?" OP says, "To be fair, he wasn't like that for a whole 2 years that we've been together. Just recently. I'm thinking if there's something going on between them, and this astrology bullshit is just a way to end things on their terms, maybe." Guacwood Silence says, "It could be his way of finding an out. If he's throwing around suggestions of breaking up during every fight, and now he's using zodiac signs as a reason to break up, then he sounds like he's just looking for reasons to end it. He could very well have feelings for this girl, but even if he doesn't sound like a good boyfriend. I would leave. Or maybe that friend wants to get with him and is manipulating him. He's pretty stupid to fall for it, especially like this, but still. I was thinking the same. I wouldn't be surprised if the friend's sign is miraculously hyper-compatible with OP's boyfriend. Oh yeah, no, if you start bringing up stupid shit like this in fights, I definitely am going to think, yeah, there's something else going on here. This is just an excuse. You're just going to keep finding stupid excuses like this to one-up me in arguments. Or just to not do what you should be doing, like what the bare minimum is. But at the same time, like if he's saying maybe we should just break up every time you have a fight, why not just break up? It just seems like the writing is on the wall at that point, and maybe you shouldn't be together with this person. That's not a healthy way to have a disagreement, being like, you know what? If you don't like the way that I'm acting, why don't you just break up with me? What? Okay. What's the point of this relationship then, huh? And now, onto the update. So I've decided to post a follow-up because my original post gained a lot of attention. I've received plenty of advice, and many things have happened ever since then. Be prepared for a long-ass ride. This whole situation is a great lesson to me, and I'm working on myself to stop being so naive and gullible. We are not together anymore, which is a good thing. But we didn't break up right away. I ended up confronting my boyfriend about his friend, her input in our relationship, and him seeking validation from her. As many of you have guessed, there was much more to their friendship that I knew about. I'm not sure how far they went to this day, but to the people that were saying that they're using this whole zodiac incompatibility as an excuse, You were right. We took a break at first because when I've decided that I want to end things on my own terms, my now ex-boyfriend switched the narrative. Surprisingly enough, he decided that he's not ready to let me go and that he will cut out his friend if it meant that we would stay together. And I was stupid enough to believe him. 1 week later, I've decided that I'll give my boyfriend another chance. We decided on new boundaries, and everything was going smooth for the first 2 weeks. That's until I noticed that my boyfriend is being suspicious with his phone, taking it with him even when he's taking a bath. One time he forgot to mute his phone, and I heard the Facebook Messenger signal coming from the bathroom while he was, supposedly, taking a bath. I've never, ever checked his phone before, and I wasn't planning to, so I just asked him to show me his messages. I guess he was surprised because I never was the type to check what he's up to, so he got quite defensive, but I wasn't planning on giving up. We had a whole argument about me not trusting him, to which I agreed that I don't, and he should just show me his phone so that we can be done with it. And he did. And guess what I found out? That he's still in contact with his astrology-obsessed friend, and their conversations aren't exactly a friendly banter. Me finding out led to even more of an argument, in which my boyfriend admitted to cheating on me with his friend, blamed it on me being a Cancer, and him being a Leo again. And then proceeded to tell me that the only reason why he was fighting to stay with me is because, as a Cancer, I'm very homely, and living with me is great. But I don't give him the thrill that his Sagittarius friend is giving him. So yeah, I kicked him out. I'm on the lease anyways, and when he tried to argue to let him stay for a few days until he finds his own apartment, I told him that as a Cancer, I'm not sure I can control my emotions and not murder him in his sleep. That's how my ex became my ex. What I've learned from this is 1, to avoid anyone who believes in astrology as a romantic partner, and 2, to be more wary of my future partner's friendships, as many things may not be what they seem. In the comments, Ravenwave says, as a Cancer, I'm not sure I can control my emotions and not murder him in his sleep. That's a good one. Good on OP for getting rid of that absolute doofus. As an Aquarius, I don't believe in any of this astrology bullcrap. Must be my free-spirited and aloof nature. As a Gemini, it's whatever. Ask me how I feel tomorrow. Motocrow says, OP is being too hard on herself. She didn't do too bad. It's reasonable to try to salvage something that you've invested in, and hard to see things clearly when you're in the thick of it. I don't understand folks like her ex, though. Just go be with the person that you want to be with, like, hello? Why drag it out with looking for an out? Just leave. This is one of those aspects of human nature that I accept because I have seen it countless times, but I still can't wrap my head around. Because he was living with a comfortable bangmaid who paid half of his bills. Dude thought that he would get to keep sleeping with both women whenever he wanted and get away with it. Yeah, sounds like it. It's just using astrology as an excuse, like I thought, when it really was just him cheating on his girlfriend and then being upset that he's been caught, when he was doing things that made it obvious that he was cheating, like going into the bath and having the notifications on and being cagey with his phone. He's just terrible all around, and he's not even good at hiding it, so thank God he did this bullshit behavior and gave you an easy out to get rid of him. As a Scorpio, that behavior disgusts me. Our next post is by user LiveSet5847, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for showing up to my nephew's birthday party without the cupcakes that I said that I would bake? So a couple of weeks ago was my nephew Sam's 10th birthday. I love Sam so much. I'll probably not be lucky enough to have my own son, so I'm so happy to be able to know him. But I don't have a great relationship with my older brother. He did everything the right way. Good grades, good school, good job, good wife. I've always been jealous at how easy being normal comes to him. I did not do well in school. I got in a lot of trouble, didn't finish college, I've picked shitty boyfriends, basically every wrong choice you could make. Suffice to say, he and I are not on the same page, and he does not take me seriously. But the one thing he does appreciate is that I can bake. He asked if I could bake cupcakes for the party in a Spider-Man theme. Of course. Edited to add that Sam did not know. They were going to be a surprise. Spider-Man is just his favorite superhero. Well, then I was laid off. I didn't do anything wrong except be the last person hired. I was devastated and ended up drinking with my roommates instead of baking the cupcakes. It just felt like another in a long line of stupid things. I ended up going to the grocery store and buying cupcakes at 2 different stores, which was hard on the bus, but it was important. Thank God it's graduation season. I showed up, and I told my brother up front what happened and apologized. He said, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." He was furious. I apologized a bunch of times. I never once made an excuse. It was 100% entirely my fault. He told me that I shouldn't even come, and the cupcakes were the only reason that he had invited me. I felt awful, and I left without seeing Sam. My mum called me when I was on the bus ride home to ask why I would be such an airhead and show up without the one thing that I was invited for. She said she thought she raised me smarter than that, but then said, "Well, I guess not," with an ugly little ha at the end. I accept that I'm fully 10,000% responsible for not having the Spider-Man cupcakes, but I think I did my best to try to make up for it by getting any cupcakes I could find. I didn't show up empty-handed. I didn't put it on them to come up with a solution. Am I wrong? And was it the wrong thing to do? When asked, "Did you tell Sam that you're making cupcakes and what the theme is? Did he know about the party?" These are You're the Asshole questions. OP says, "Hi, I just want to correct one thing, but I'm not arguing. I didn't tell Sam. It was going to be a special surprise for him. He wasn't expecting the Spider-Man cupcakes. That's just his favorite superhero. Sam didn't know that I was making the cupcakes. I took the toppers off the cupcakes. They were all black and white and yellow, though. I don't understand why you're making things up that didn't happen. He didn't ask for a Spider-Man theme. He didn't know that he was having a party to begin with." Not Mapped Out says, "Not the asshole for the question that you asked for judgment on, which is if you were the asshole for showing up without the cupcakes, given that he didn't know that he was getting Spider-Man cupcakes, and he got cupcakes in the end. I don't think that you're the asshole for showing up. You said this was a few weeks ago. Has anyone in your family reached out or said anything about you being laid off? Do they care?" OP says, "My dad did because he saw that there was news about layoffs at my company, but no one else has said anything. They might not know. I don't think that they look at the same news that my dad does. Did he tell anyone or at least ask how you were dealing with it?" OP says, "I don't know if he told anyone, but no one asked how I was dealing with it. He asked me if I had gotten a new job yet. I think a week had passed, and I said no, not yet. He asked me, well, why the hell not? I said because it's only been a week. He said that if he lost his job, he would have been pounding the pavements from morning until night and knocking on every door downtown until someone would sit down with me to go over his resume. I told him that's not really how things work anymore, but that I'd already applied for a lot of jobs. And he asked, well, why am I sitting at home when I should be busier than ever? And I lost my job the day before." Blue Moon Commenter says, "Your family is awful, but I'm more concerned that you couldn't control your desire to drink enough to fulfill your promise. You may need to consider that you have a drinking problem that is far bigger than cupcakes. Your family is still awful, but my guess is that this isn't the first time substances have been an issue with you and them." OP says, "You are correct. It is not the first time that substances have been a problem with me and them. When I was in high school, I got drunk at a party and had to call my dad to come get me. It was 2 a.m., he was very tired, and we had a minor accident on the way back to the house. He was very proud of that car because it was the first that he bought new and paid off, and then in college, I participated in the end-of-year campus party. I made a poor decision to wear new heels and drink and slipped on some stairs, broke my ankle, and needed them to come get me earlier than expected." How old are you? These things are annoying in the moment, sure, but driving a kid home from a party is pretty normal. How much do you drink? OP says, "I am 31. I drink occasionally. I don't get drunk very often anymore. I had my fill of that when I was in college. So I'm assuming that you don't have a drinking problem. Where does this level of reaction come from? Have you dropped the ball like that for other things?" OP says, "Yes. About 4 years ago, I was supposed to go on vacation with them to celebrate being out of COVID. I was not able to go because the company also had layoffs. I had to cancel last minute, and it made it all more expensive for them. They were really mad about that one. I had to save that money for rent though. I was down a roommate, but they were right that at my age I should have had savings. A few years before that, I had to move back in with my mum and dad because of a bad situation I had with a guy. They'd been getting ready to convert my room to the grandkid hotel, and that stopped them for a year, which ended with it just never happening because of the timing of COVID. I did not finish college, and that was probably the worst thing I chose to do to them. I was failing, and I just wasn't good enough to balance both. So I ended up dropping out. I hoped that I'd go back, but I wasn't passionate about anything, and it's too expensive to not know why I'm there. And about the living situation, OP says, "My living situation is stable. I've lived with mostly the same people for nearly 7 years. The reason that I mentioned the bus is because carrying the cupcakes on the bus was difficult because they took up a lot of room. That's all." So what I'm getting from this situation is that OP is related to a lot of assholes. These are people that are very inherently selfish and judge OP for not meeting the standards that they, in their mind, expect of OP, and they have little to no empathy for where OP is at in their life, why they are where they are, and all of the societal conditions that caused OP to be in the situations that they are in and were in. It's kind of a no-win situation unless you come upon a bunch of money and elevate your position to match what they in their fantasy land minds expect of you, OP. So no, you are not the asshole for this one. You are being given an impossible goal to reach. You are being given no empathy for not achieving what they expect of you, and you are being punished for it. So no, fuck them. Don't feel bad for that. Start setting more stringent boundaries with these people, or they will decimate your mental health. I'm being so serious about that. And now, onto the update. Hi. Thanks for all the comments before about me failing to bring the Spider-Man cupcakes to my nephew's party. I think I have an okay update to share. I was sort of spiraling when I wrote my post before, and that it happens very often to me. Yes, I messed up, but life goes on. I've not been able to find a good job, but I've been making ends meet with cleaning houses. Last week, my family got together for Thanksgiving, and I surprised my nephew by bringing him a small batch of Spider-Man cupcakes, and he was over the moon. My brother thanked me for it, so that was nice. My mum said, "Better late than never, I guess," and she and my dad laughed together. I also baked a pie to bring, but I ended up dropping it. For the first time in my life, I stood up for myself against them, and I told them that it was really hurtful that they can't ever just be supportive. That post made me reflect on all the ways over the years that they just haven't taken me seriously or have ignored my small wins because I don't get the big ones like my brother. They argued with me, and then probably the best thing ever happened. My sister-in-law stood up for me. She said that ever since she's been a part of this family, she's seen the way that they talk to me and about me and laugh at me behind my back and treat me like someone else's daughter. She said that they've been doing it for years. They tried to pull the "she knows it's out of love" card on me, and I told them that I don't feel loved by them and never have, and brought up that she said the only reason I was ever invited to that party was for the cupcakes. Mum tried to say that that wasn't true, but my sister-in-law stopped her and said that's exactly what she said. My mum and dad were quiet for a little bit, and then my dad said that he didn't realize how sensitive I am and that they'll try to do better. I was so happy. Yes, I thanked my sister-in-law so much, and we've been texting a ton. I didn't realize she liked me. I think 2026 is going to be my year, and I'm excited. My biggest hope is to find a job that helps me save money so that I can get my own place by 2028. Merry holidays, everyone! In the comments, Gerand Queen says, "I thought your brother was the one who said the cupcakes were the only reason that you were invited. Did your sister-in-law stand up to your brother as well?" OP says, "They both did, and I guess I don't know if she said anything to him." Good for your sister-in-law, and good for you, OP. I like your sister-in-law a lot. She seems smart. She sees what's really going on and is realizing that her in-laws will replicate this toxicity with her children in a heartbeat if she lets them. Edit to add, my own observation, as someone with a few years on me, is that so often families that have this type of toxic behavior repeat it in future generations. So OP's parents are used to a dynamic where they have a golden child and get to berate, insult, and demean the other one. Guess what's going to happen if a second grandchild arrives? I'd bet on history repeating itself, and the first one getting all the praise and the second one all the scolding. It's sickening. I'm so glad to see sister-in-law standing up. I really hope that she ripped a strip off her jackass of a husband too. OP, your parents sound like fucking awful people. Stick to your sister-in-law. And they still didn't take responsibility by saying that they are wrong, just saying that you were sensitive. That's bull. Way to go, sister-in-law. Right? That stood way out to me. OP, be prepared for them to backslide, and maybe some therapy to help you navigate this terrible dynamic that your family has. Absolutely that, and then some, OP. You do need to protect yourself from all of them going forward. This is not good. None of them actually apologized, they didn't take responsibility, and thank God your sister-in-law has some self-awareness to realize this treatment that you are receiving is down the road for her and her kids. It's not a maybe or a possibility. They will treat her the same because she is an outsider. She and her kids probably will not meet the family expectations and will be judged accordingly. As these guys say, stick to the sister-in-law. She has backed you and she will back you in the future. You guys are stronger together. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!